take a timeout, and it's not in the way that you might think. So I've got some tips for how to take an effective timeout for you. So when you need a timeout, and also if your kids need them, just some things to really think about, like what is the purpose of a timeout. Sometimes we just escape, right? So sometimes it's like you go into the bathroom and then you don't come out for 20 minutes. Does anybody else do that? Like, that's not really a timeout. That's just like you running away and escaping. So it was funny because today I think I had just made a shake, and I made a fizz drink, and I made a tea, and I set them on the counter, and Jeremy was out in the garage, and the kids were doing something, I don't know what, and he came back in and I was gone, and I was in the bathroom, and I heard him say, well, oh, I think there were groceries on the counter I didn't put away or something, and he made a comment and said something like, well, I guess she abandoned the ship or something like that. And I was like, oh shoot, I got busted, because I was in the bathroom. Legit connection. Dylan and I had to take a drive, and he was needing a timeout. So here's some tips for timeout, and I've got to look at my notes. Timeouts, if you do a timeout well, you actually will plan them. Hey, Kathy, I just have one boy. I just have Dylan. You say hi to Kathy?
Hi, Kathy.
Christian's at home. He's probably napping for nap time chat. When you do an effective timeout, be it for yourself or with and for your children, you need to plan it ahead. You need to plan ahead and think about what are the times and how are you going to how are you going to do a timeout? So we already know for him that there are certain situations that we just need to take a break. We need to take an effective timeout, and then we know how to do it. A car ride is a really, really great way. Okay, sweetie, when we're done, we will, okay? Is a really great way that he can have a timeout. For me, my kind of timeout is like I am going to go take a bath. So it's like I've planned ahead some effective ways for me to take a timeout. So plan ahead. What is it that works for you to like refresh and take that break? Here's a really important thing that I was reading about timeouts that I had never really considered. I started by saying timeout is not an escape. Timeout is not an escape. And here's the second part. You have to return to the situation that you're taking a timeout from. How often do you take the timeout because you needed the break, but then you never come back to the situation that you escaped? Therefore, you did not take an effective timeout. If you parent your children and you use timeouts, when Dylan is taking a timeout and it's like, hey, listen, you need to take a break. He can be completely out of control. I reach my hand down to him, and he knows. He reaches his hand up to me. I hold his hand. We walk down the hallway back to the bedroom together. He sits in the chair, and he might be like screaming and kicking and throwing, or he might just be like trying to breathe, whatever he's trying to figure out. When it's over and the timeout's over and his break is over, we talk about it. So it's like, hey, this is what happened. This is why we were here. I love you. This is what we've got to figure out together. So when you take an effective timeout for yourself or for your children, remember, you have to return to the situation that got you there. Let other people know what you're doing. So obviously, if it's children, you're explaining, like, listen, you need a timeout, because if it's for you, here's the most important part. Make sure the people in your life know why you're taking the time out. Because what it can feel like is he or she just bailed because it's complete chaos and they didn't want to deal. But what it really is, like, effective for them to be able to effectively help themselves and help the people around them, they might need a timeout for a bit. So Jeremy and I a lot of times have talked. He's like, I just need sometimes to escape, like take a break, take 5 minutes. So I did a 2-hour class that I was online with today, and when I came out, the kids were playing Legos, and he said, I sat down, played Legos, and he's like, okay, I need a break, and nobody's allowed to follow me. Nobody can talk to me for 10 minutes. So he's voicing what he needs. Like, I need the timeout. And when he came back, he was refreshed. He was good. He sat down and colored. When you take a timeout, it is you committing to you and you committing to the people around you. So keep that in mind. I don't know about you guys. If you see other people that are like part of the network of people helping care for your kids or helping care for you, when you see them just escape and don't come out of the bathroom for 20 minutes, or when they go to the bathtub for 30, or when they just walk outside, remember that they're doing that so that they can be better for themselves and for you. But the communication, I think, is the key, so that you can learn. Like it takes me a lot to really lose my mind, but if he's losing his mind, my body gets real like anxious. And so I don't get angry, I just get like overwhelmed. So then taking this drive that we're on right now, we're sitting in the car, by the way, parked, is good for both of us, just to like breathe and refresh. So anyway, timeouts can be whatever you need to be, need them to be. And I think our timeout is now over. We need to finish our drive back home. Dylan, you want to say bye-bye to everybody?
Bye-bye, everybody.
Does your body feel a little better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went and picked up all our stuff from school because school is not going to happen anymore this year, huh? That's a bummer. All right, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, take a time out when you need it. Do it effectively and do it well. We're going to come back to the situation that got us in the car in the first place after we're home and we're all chill. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.